Hey guys, it's Greg Jones for Engine Builder, and welcome to another shop tour. Today we're outside Dallas, Texas in Weatherford. We're visiting with Summit Diesel and shop owner Alex Null. These guys do a bunch of diesel general repair work. They do stuff for Duramax, for Cummins, Powerstroke. They do some engine building on the Powerstroke and Cummins platforms as well. Got a cool little spot here, so let's go inside and check it out. Come on. All right, guys, so we're inside Summit Diesel here, and I'm joined by Alex Null. Alex,
what's up, man?
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Appreciate you letting us come in the shop and check it out.
Yeah, we only had to clean for about 2.5 weeks to get prepared for you guys to come. But
well, we appreciate that.
yeah.
But yeah, nice spot you guys have, and you know, I know you guys have been doing this a while, but tell the audience a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got into diesel engine work and truck work, and what got you starting with Summit Diesel.
We've been here 5 years. We've been here since 2018. I got into this kind of as an accident. I was going to college and ran into some financial trouble, and a buddy of mine's dad owned a mechanic shop, and he was like, hey, my dad needs somebody to help around the shop. And I was like, man, okay.
Yeah.
And so I went over there for $12 an hour, and one day one of the mechanics called in sick, and then the rest is history.
Yeah.
Man, I just jumped in and started doing it, and found out that I liked it, and then realized that college wasn't for me, I guess. And
yeah,
off I went to the diesel world, and worked for a couple of fleets, did some stuff in the oil field.
Okay.
And then one day a buddy of mine wanted to open a diesel shop, and next thing I know, here we are.
Yeah, very good. Now, you said you've been here 5 years, and before we got on camera, you were saying that you actually could expand and get a bigger place, but it's tough to come by out here in Weatherford.
Man, here in Weatherford, the property is really expensive.
Yeah.
And we've looked at a few places, and you know, $10,000 a month for, you know, 5,000 square feet, you're like, that's a little tough.
Right, sure.
Right now we're on 3/4 of an acre with two 60 by 40 buildings connected.
Okay.
And so, but we're between tools, toolboxes, and equipment, we're pretty maxed out on space.
Yeah, yeah.
I got 2 techs. I've got Braden and I've got Javi.
Okay.
My office lady's on vacation this week, so she lucked out. She doesn't get to be on camera. But, no, I guess we start out on the shop tour. If you want.
Yeah. So, so right here, kind of in your service bay area. So you got a couple of bays here.
We just put a full motor in this Dodge. It's 2018 Ram.
Yeah.
He had a melted piston, and so we pulled it, tore it all apart, did a few upgrades, slapped it back in yesterday, cab back down yesterday, and it's fixing to be ready to start here in the next couple of minutes. So
Awesome.
we do a lot more repair and maintenance these days. Right after COVID, it just seemed like everybody's extra spending kind of slowed down a little bit. We still do some performance builds here and there, but not as much as I'd like.
Yeah, very good. But yeah, so show us around kind of the service area, and then we can walk, you said kind of your engine spaces over on the other side.
Well, we have a tear down table in the middle of the shop. It's kind of whoever needs it. We've got a couple tables that we do tear downs on. Everything's pretty much going back together right now, so there's nothing to show. I mean, I got the piston where we tore that engine down here last week. Yeah. Where it burned a hole out the side of the piston.
Oh, wow.
That's just for the customer when he picks it up. Yeah. You know, everybody likes to see what kind of carnage they made.
Here's the proof, yeah.
Man, it's kind of a cluster over here. I've got an engine sitting on the floor waiting for tear down. It's a 6.0 Powerstroke. Okay. I found needle bearings in the oil filter and in the oil pan, so it's going to need a cam, lifters, front cover. It's pretty much it there. It's going to be a stock build. It's not going to be anything crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and Alex, tell the folks, you know, again, some of the, you know, what's the breadth of work that you guys will do? You pretty much cover all the light duty diesel stuff on the repair side.
We do all 3 platforms, Ford, Dodge, Chevy. We've somehow got labeled as a a Ford only shop to some people, but it's not. I mean, we do it all. There's nothing that we can't do.
Yeah, that's great. And then, you know, you got the engine work side of things. You were telling me earlier, it's primarily more the Powerstroke and Cummins stuff.
Yeah, there's just too many people, too many companies that make cheap enough Duramax engines. So we usually stick to Cummins builds and Powerstroke builds. We can build them and still save the customer money, and still give them a quality build, whether it's horsepower, factory, farmer, you know, racer, whatever.
Yep, very good. And then now you got a decent number of trucks out here. You know, how many customers will you guys get through in a given week or so?
Real number, probably 5 or 6 a week.
Okay.
And then a lot of them are bigger builds. A lot of them are bigger repairs.
Yeah, it takes some time. Yeah.
When about midway through summer, you know, the heat starts to get to them, and we'll end up with, you know, 25, 35 trucks outside.
Yeah.
And it's just we can knock them out in no time.
Yeah. Nice. Very good.
Over here is we call it Toolbox Corner. It's just kind of where everybody's toolbox just ended up.
Yeah.
But everybody works out of a tool cart, really.
Yeah.
How I ended up with 2 of these is because I wanted a bigger toolbox, but I didn't want the drawer split. I wanted the full length drawer.
Yeah.
So he was like, well, we could do 2 68-inch toolboxes. I was like, all right. He was like, well, I'll cut you a deal. Yeah. $50 a week for the rest of my life.
Right.
So.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
They are not cheap. This side of the shop kind of becomes a collect-all for long-term projects.
Yeah.
I've got, we're building a race truck for the shop. It's a 6.4 Powerstroke. And then as we collect the parts, they just end up on this shelf here. And then this week we're going to assemble the truck. So now we've got it all laid out. We've got big turbo here.
Yeah.
We did a S472 single.
Nice.
So we went from the compound turbo setup to a single.
Yeah.
We got a fast fuel lift pump.
Yeah.
We got some goodies from RCD Performance, water pump, coolant lines, CCV reroute. We're gonna go fuel cell, Calvert Caltrax instead of the traction bars. I think we're gonna have better luck with the Caltrax on the power level that we're shooting for.
Yeah.
We went with an RCD dual fuel pump setup with ported rails. I picked this up off of Marketplace pretty cheap.
Okay.
We didn't go new on this.
Yeah.
It gets expensive when you add up 2 tables worth of parts.
Now, I can't help but notice you got this nice bike here in the background. That thing's got a sweet paint job on it.
Yeah. I bought that bike, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And me and my wife got in an accident. And when the insurance adjuster showed up, he just started writing these big checks. Like all these parts are, I was like, man, it's not that messed up. And next thing you know, I've got all this insurance money to go towards this motorcycle. And a buddy of mine paints motorcycles in Dallas. And he was like, dude, we could do a pretty sick paint job for that kind of money. I was like, well, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so now, you know, we've ended up with a showpiece that collects dust in the corner. It's got a few trophies under her belt, but.
Okay, nice. Yeah, no, it looks awesome. So, is there anything particular about the paint job that's
there's nothing
like special to you or anything?
Not really.
Okay.
I gave him, it's a 100th anniversary edition. So if you know anything about Harleys, the 100th anniversary edition is a solid black with a silver stripe.
Yeah. And
inside that silver stripe, it says Harley Davidson 1,000,000 times. And so, I mean, kind of what he did with the pinstripe is he came up with the blue Harley, the blue Harley airbrush. I guess you'd call that a pinstripe. And then that's really the only thing that I told him. I kind of wanted to stay with the, you know, try to have something on there that was 100th anniversary edition.
Gotcha.
And then he just went crazy with the airbrush with the girl and the skulls and all the skulls and the girls and Other Side Customs is the name of the shop. They branded it back here in the back.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's dusty, and I'm ashamed that it's on camera, but
well, it still looks gorgeous to me.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We went to a big race. Well, it's getting big. It was only their third year, but out in West Texas in Big Spring, they have a blowout at the bunker.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty cool deal. It's a no prep. It's kind of towards a non-profit thing. It's a something air museum.
Okay.
And basically all the proceeds go to funding this air museum. And but this is the third year that just 2 weekends ago, and they were like, man, you ought to take the motorcycle out there. They've got a car show. And so I cleaned it all up, got it all slicked up, and we hauled it out there, and Javi raced in the race, and then I sat over in the car show, and we took home the trophy from that.
Nice.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
nice.
We're in a rock parking lot, so the dust was kind of getting to us.
Yeah.
When we tried to build things, we'd always have to clean off whatever. I mean, it didn't matter what it was. We were always having to blow it off with air, hit it with brake clean. And so I said, you know what? I said, we've got that part of the shop over there that's really inconvenient. This corner just kind of collected crap anyways. Mm-hmm. So I had a company come in and build like a little wall, and then hang the meat curtains, if you will, like in a meat locker.
Yeah.
And then we put a little window unit in here. So the people that come to us, and you know, they're very skeptical about buying engines from other places, because like, oh, they might have reused pistons, or they might have reused that, or you know, we don't trust them. And so that's where I ended up like, well, I'll just go to a few classes or seminars, and I'll learn how to build these engines. And next thing you know, we're in here in this room, you know, 3 days a week putting engines together.
Right.
We are getting ready for a race coming up, Texas Truck Jam, in a couple weekends out at Ennis. And I'm going to throw the 6.4 together. I'm looking for about 800 horsepower. We're probably going to enter the 770 class with it. Yeah. I know that's the biggest class out there, is the 770 class, but I haven't had a race truck for 2 race seasons now, so it's about time to
you're itching
put
to get
one
out
together.
there. Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed the extended cab Powerstroke outside with no headlights and no front end, but this is the engine that'll go in there.
Okay.
It's actually a second-hand build. I built this engine for my wife. It made right at the 500 mark, stock fuel injector, but then we did bigger compounds. We did a little bit bigger K16 pump in it. It's got a stage 2 cam in it, and all that kind of stuff. But now we're getting a little more serious. We're gonna go 30% injector, dual fueler, single turbo, and we're gonna pour the coals to this thing. But
well, I don't want to tell all the details, because you know, we'll give the folks plenty more detail on this build and diesel of the week. So we'll save some of that for that. But yeah, this is sweet. It's going to be cool for sure.
Yeah, it's dirty. I get it, but we're trying to make a race. So I'm not going for a beauty contest this week.
Just has to make power, right?
Man, you want to talk about beauty contests though? I've got a customer. I'm going to shout him out. It's Jake Patrick. He bought a truck from a guy. One of those, guy didn't have a title, so he's just looking to get some money for something sitting out in the pasture. But he said, man, I want to make some power. I said, what are you thinking? And he was like, man, I want to make 2,000 horsepower. And I said, man, you don't want to make 2,000 horsepower. There's a lot of problems coming with 2,000 horsepower.
Sure.
I said, man, we can make 1,000, 11, 1,200. I said, no problem. So this is a 07 5.9 Cummins. We went Street Fighter rod. We did beans girdle.
Yeah.
It's got industrial injection, fly cut, coated D-lip pistons in it. This thing is going to be, it's going to make some power.
Yeah.
It's going to make some power. It's going to be nasty.
No, it looks awesome already. It's only half there.
Yeah, that's the bad part is, you know, you get about 10 grand into this thing, and the 10 grand that's the coolest and the prettiest is going to be covered up by an oil pan. So, but we've got some cool billet parts we're going to put on it. We've got a King Speed valve cover, King Speed front cover. I mean, it's going to be a nice engine.
Yeah.
The truck's going to look crappy, but the engine's going to be beautiful.
Yeah. It'll surprise some people.
So.
Very cool.
I mean, this is our engine room. I mean, we got our parts washer. We got our, you know, tear down table. We got 2 assembly tables. I got my wall O gaskets.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's funny because it's like this side, one side is 6.0 Powerstroke, and then this is Cummins, and then like a little corner for the 12 valve Cummins.
Yeah.
But it's all the stuff we normally need. And so we buy it in bulk, or when we buy engine kits and have leftover parts, we hang them up, you know. when you buy new parts for engines, they come with gaskets. So when you buy a gasket set, you'll end up with those extra gaskets.
Yep. Yep. Now, Alex, obviously you guys don't have any machines here to do like machine work. So is there a shop that you guys like to use when that's necessary? We do.
In Springtown, there's a guy that holds like 7 world records in fuel altereds. It's Ferris. I think it's Ferris Automotive.
Okay.
I think is what it's called, but they're a badass machine shop. They do a lot of great work. Yeah. Anything I ask him to do, he's like, I'm not real sure about the diesel stuff, but man, he knocks it out of the park every time.
Yeah, nice.
But we do, for a lot of our Cummins stuff, we send to Trinity Casting and Machine in Dallas.
Okay.
They're a huge shop. They do anything from a head off of a boat, like a big tugboat, or all the way down to a 4BT Cummins. You know,
nice.
But all their Cummins work is spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. They have all the right equipment. They have all the right stuff to find the cracks that nobody else can find. They can find the imperfections that most people don't see, and they've proved themselves time and time again. They've saved me money and heartache in the long run. They're like, man, this head looks great, and they're like, well, let us put it through a pressure test or whatever, and they find something, and like, oh man, I'm glad we found this. I'm like, I'm glad you found that too.
Yeah, no, it's nice that you got a couple shops to rely on for that, because that's an important aspect of it.
Machine shops, man, they just take forever. All of them. It doesn't matter which one you use.
Yeah.
They all take forever, but it's the quality of work, I guess.
Yeah. You got to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool.
This monstrosity, this is a 94 single cab Dodge Dually chassis.
Okay.
We had a customer bring it to us, and it started out as she just wanted the cab swapped off of a truck that's actually out in the parking lot. I don't know if you saw, it's the 1956 GMC Viking.
Well, we should probably take a walk out there, because you mentioned your racetrack is out there too. And
yeah, we'll take a look. Yeah. Well, what started out as a cab swap ended up with a 10-inch powder-coated lift, and then the engine was leaking pretty good. And I'm like, you sure while we got this cab off, you don't want to dig into the engine? She was like, yeah, let's go ahead and dig into the engine. And I couldn't talk her into some race parts in it, but it's got some pretty decent stuff inside. Some pretty nice Mala pistons. It's got a Valair dual disc clutch on it. eBay special valve covers on it.
Yeah.
But we went back with the stock turbo. Everything looked good there. Everything else was pretty decent. It was just dirty. It was an old farm truck.
Right.
What was crazy is this truck looked like it had 10 million miles on it, and the gauge cluster only read 40,000.
Wow.
This thing was rough looking.
Yeah.
But we're going to bring it back to life. We've had it probably longer than we should have. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks we can clear out some time and get all of this corner cleaned back out, all of her parts, and get it back on the truck and get it rolling.
Nice. Yeah, you got a decent amount of trucks sitting out. And you said in the summer you might get 30 out here.
Dude, in a couple of months, it really just takes off. And beginning of the summer is always slow. Kids are getting out of school, going on vacation, so parents aren't spending a lot of money on truck repair. Yeah. But then once that Texas heat sets in, man, you can't avoid the inevitable.
Yeah.
So that's where you end up with a bunch of head gasket issues. Everybody needs an AC job, you know, and you'll end up with, like I said, 25 to 35 trucks out here. And right now there's probably, I don't know, there's probably 20 out here now.
Yeah.
18, 20.
Yeah.
So this is a 2008 Ford F-250 extended cab short bed.
Yeah.
I bought this truck from a buddy of mine that has a transmission shop over in Denton. It's Red Horse Motorsports.
Okay.
And they were going to put a Cummins in it. And I said, how dare you?
Right.
And no, I'm kidding. If I had the money, I'd probably put a Cummins in it too. But I ended up with a few 6.4 core engines that we were able to rebuild, like I showed you in the engine room. And so I was like, you know what? Be easier, quicker, cheaper. Let's throw the 6.4 back in it, make a little bit of horsepower, and then later we can come and swap it. We still have all the engine mounts, the adapter plates, the engine harness. We still have all that stuff to do the come and swap. But this thing has been covered in dust and dirt for about 6 years. It's been, the cab has come off, the bed's come off. They've completely cleaned the frame, and took all the fuel, the old fuel system off, so it's ready for a fuel cell and a fast fuel and all that. I don't have to do any kind of tear down. This thing is just ready to go. Last week we did all new brakes. We were trying to push it in the shop and the brakes were locked up. So I was like, well, I guess that's our first mod, is we're gonna have to do brakes on this thing. So we did power stops. Summit Racing equipment is about 40 minutes from here. So we just hop on 20 and went down there, grabbed all of our power stop goodies, put it all on. So now it rolls in and out pretty easy without being locked up. But
very cool.
Hopefully we get that all rolling. We're trying to make Texas Truck Jam, so it's going to be some late nights coming up here pretty soon.
Sure.
I showed you the chassis inside with the white powder coated parts with the big lift kit on it. This is hers.
Wow, that's cool.
Dude, this is cool, and it's actually it's a Chevrolet Viking. I'm sorry, I called it a GMC Viking earlier. It's a Chevy Viking. It actually runs and drives as it sits.
It's a big truck.
Dude, it's a huge truck.
Yeah.
And so I guess what's her real issue is she's running into problems getting the lug pattern, you know, getting a set of aftermarket wheels with this lug pattern. So if she could take this chassis, and of course everybody wants a Cummins and everything, so let's take this chassis, set it on a Dodge chassis with a Cummins, then she can have her pick of wheels that she wants. She can upgrade the motor easily, and but this thing's pretty cool. It's going to be a cool project. It's she needs a polish job for sure, but it's.
Do you know what year this is?
I want to say it's a 50s model. It's a 55 or a 56.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a 55.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. That's going to look cool when it's all done.
I think so. We're going to have to tunnel. We're going to have to cut the transmission tunnel pretty far back because how short the front end is. The Cummins is going to, the back of the valve covers are going to be into the firewall.
Right.
So we're going to have to cut probably about 13 inches wide, and then the whole firewall down to the floor.
Yep.
So it's going to be fun. I don't think we're going to do the body work per se. I think we're going to stick with the mechanical side of things. We're going to do the engine, the transmission, suspension. This one behind you was it's a weird deal. Customer showed up with a wrecked truck, and I told him I don't do wrecked trucks, and so then he brought it back with all the wrecked pieces off of it, and was like, hey, can you fix the engine? I was like, sure.
Yeah.
And then I guess he fell on hard times, and now it's been abandoned here for a year.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
I've ended up with this yarn ornament.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, you'll have that. Eventually the bank calls. The bank wants, hey, I think we have a truck there.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, the storage fees are $8,000. They're like, oh, we'll just send you the title. I'm like, oh, okay, that'll work. I've had that happen twice.
So, Alex, you know, we got to see around the property, we got to see in the shop, and, you know, again, really appreciate the time.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned getting a bigger space is on the horizon, something you've been looking at.
It's on the horizon.
You know, if you find the right spot. Anything else that you guys are looking to do with the shop in the near future?
Man, I'd really like to hire on one more guy. And then, like I said, to hire one more guy, we would need a little bit more space. Mm-hmm. One bay apiece is not ideal, but we've got a pretty good, you know, system going.
Sure.
We get one diagged, we pull it out. We usually spend Mondays doing all of our diag, get everything planned for the week, get with the customer, hey, this is what it's going to take, you know, let's get this rolling as quick as possible. If a deposit's needed, they bring a deposit, you know, depending if it needs a motor or needs a trans, you know, that's a lot to take on as a small business owner.
Right.
You get 4 or 5 transmissions in a row, and that's, you know, $7,000 a piece is a little tough.
Right, for sure.
But no, I you know, that's pretty soon. It's very, very soon.
Yeah.
We've actually went and looked at a few spots here in Weatherford, and the money that they're asking for commercial zone properties here is outrageous.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I don't want to move. I like this area.
Yeah.
So we'll deal with this for as long as we can, and then when it's absolutely the end of the line where we have to move, we'll do it.
Yeah, very cool. Well, Alex, again, appreciate the time. Yeah, pleasure meeting you. Awesome seeing the shop. Guys, we appreciate you watching this shop tour. Make sure to be following what Alex has going on and follow Summit Diesel. These guys do some cool stuff. And if you got any questions for Alex about the shop, make sure you drop that stuff in the comments and we'll pass that on to him. And as always, make sure you're checking out enginebuildermag.com for more great engine content. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.